Alright, so today we're diving deep into the world of cell membranes. These incredible structures define the boundary between what's inside a cell and the outside world, acting like the gatekeeper of the cell. By the end of this video, you will have a comprehensive understanding of everything related to the cell membrane, from its structure to its many vital functions. And if you're looking for more ways to deepen your understanding of biology and ace your exams, be sure to check out King of the Curve for the best study resources. Let's start with the basics. The cell membrane is an essential structural element of every cell, providing a boundary between the intracellular space, that's the inside of the cell, and the extracellular space, or the outside world. It plays a critical role in maintaining the integrity of the cell, and it selectively regulates what comes in and out. This is known as selective permeability. The cell membrane is primarily made up of a double layer, or bilayer, of phospholipid molecules. Now, phospholipids are amphiphilic, meaning they love both water and fats. Each phospholipid consists of three parts: a head made of a negatively charged phosphate, two fatty acid tails, and a glycerol backbone that holds it all together. The phosphate head is hydrophilic. It loves water, while the fatty acid tails are hydrophobic, meaning they repel water but love fats. In an aqueous environment, phospholipids naturally arrange themselves into a bilayer, with the hydrophobic tails facing inward, away from the water, and the hydrophilic heads facing outward toward the water on both sides. This arrangement creates a barrier that separates the inside of the cell from the outside environment. The cell membrane is selectively permeable, meaning it allows some molecules to pass through while blocking others. There are roughly 5 categories of molecules when it comes to permeability. 1. Small nonpolar molecules like oxygen and carbon dioxide can diffuse through the membrane quickly. 2. Small polar molecules like water can pass through, but it happens slowly due to the hydrophobic core of the bilayer. 3. Large nonpolar molecules such as retinol or vitamin A1 can cross the membrane, but it's a slow process. 4. Large polar molecules like glucose are unlikely to pass through on their own. And finally, 5. Highly polar, charged ions such as sodium, potassium, chloride, or amino acids have virtually no chance of crossing the membrane without assistance. Now, let's talk about cholesterol. Cholesterol plays a crucial role in maintaining the fluidity and durability of the cell membrane, regardless of temperature. At low temperatures, cholesterol inserts itself between phospholipids to prevent them from packing too tightly, maintaining membrane fluidity. At high temperatures, cholesterol pulls phospholipids closer together, preventing the membrane from becoming too leaky. This makes cholesterol essential for cells like red blood cells, which experience constant wear and tear and are exposed to varying temperatures. Cell membranes aren't just made up of lipids, they also contain various proteins. There are 3 main types. 1. Integral proteins span the entire membrane bilayer. 2. Peripheral proteins are found on the inner or outer surface of the membrane. 3. Lipid-bound proteins are nestled within the lipid bilayer itself. Transport proteins, which are integral proteins, help move molecules across the membrane. These transport proteins come in 2 main types: channels and carriers. Channel proteins act like tunnels, allowing water and ions to pass through. A great example is the aquaporin channel, which facilitates water movement. Carrier proteins, on the other hand, are more selective. They have specific binding sites and gates that open sequentially. An example is the glucose transporter called GLUT4, which opens to allow glucose into the cell. Some transport proteins act as enzymes known as ATPACs, which use energy from ATP to actively pump ions against their concentration gradient. For example, the sodium-potassium ATPase pumps 3 sodium ions out of the cell in exchange for 2 potassium ions entering the cell. This process requires energy and is essential for maintaining the cell's internal environment. Another important component of the cell membrane is cell adhesion molecules, or CAMs. These integral transmembrane proteins anchor cells to each other and form tight connections called adherens junctions, or tight junctions. One example of a cell adhesion molecule is cadherin, which acts like Velcro, holding neighboring cells together. These junctions are essential for the structural integrity of tissues, keeping cells in place like bricks in a wall. Cell membranes also have cell surface receptors that receive signals from outside the cell and transmit them inside. These receptors act like the cell's mailbox, receiving messages from hormones, cytokines, or growth factors. For example, when insulin binds to its receptor, it triggers a cascade of events inside the cell, ultimately increasing the number of GLUT4 transporters on the cell surface, allowing more glucose to enter. Carbohydrates are another important feature of cell membranes. They often attach to proteins, forming glycoproteins, or to lipids, forming glycolipids. These structures act like identification cards, helping cells recognize each other. Immune cells, for instance, use glycoproteins and glycolipids to distinguish normal cells from foreign invaders, ensuring the body's defense system operates correctly. Finally, let's discuss the fluid mosaic model. The cell membrane isn't a static structure. Proteins, lipids, and cholesterol are all moving fluidly within the bilayer. This dynamic nature gives the cell membrane the ability to adapt and respond to changes, making it a truly remarkable component of life. Alright, let's quickly recap. The cell membrane is composed of a phospholipid bilayer with embedded cholesterol, proteins, and carbohydrates. It regulates what enters and leaves the cell, maintains structure, and enables communication with other cells. And that's a complete look at the cell membrane. If you found this video helpful and want to learn more about biology or other science topics, be sure to check out King of the Curve. We've got all the resources you need to stay ahead of the curve in your studies. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more amazing content. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.